Fox 14.
Hi everyone, happy Friday. Here's some of what's heading your way tonight to your news at 9.
Recent flooding has led to damage for some car owners, causing local auto shops to get extra busy. I'm Bronte Sorotsky with what one local Joplin shop is seeing.
Campers and campgrounds are gearing up for what could be a great Memorial Day weekend. I'm Zach Dodge with how much heavy rain and flooding could impact the weekend. Coming up.
Plus, a soldier's remains are back home in Fort Scott, finally, nearly 80 years after his death. Doug Hedia's weather tonight. Jacob Leonard has sports. This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Aubie. The hunt for 2 jail escapees is over. The 2 men were arrested in Ottawa County, Oklahoma. The suspects, Mark Hopkins and Michael Martzloff, escaped Monday night through a plumbing area in a Columbus County, Kansas jail. Suspects, who authorities say were armed at the time of arrest, now face additional charges of aggravated escape from custody. A woman was also arrested after a search warrant yesterday morning for her alleged role in the escape. Authorities filed charges in connection with the shooting death of an Anderson, Missouri man. Levi Watkins is charged with second-degree murder and armed criminal action in the Tuesday shooting. Authorities say Watkins and another man got into a fight with the victim when gunfire was exchanged. Watkins and the other unnamed suspect fled the scene. The victim later passed away at the hospital. Good day to dry out. Meteorologist Doug Hedia joining us now with the first look at the forecast. Doug?
Yeah, a ton of rain over the past day and a half or so. So it was nice to dry out just a little bit, but it was chilly for this time of the year. Look at our average high. It's 81. We only topped out at 66, so it's very cool outside this evening. We are going to warm up a little bit over the weekend, but in general, kind of chilly for Memorial Weekend. Pretty much clear skies. We do have some clouds out there, but in general, it looks fine across the entire Central Plains. But look at our temps. Mid to upper 50s across the region. We're going to drop back into the mid 40s a little bit later on tonight for us, but we are going to warm up a bit. Also some more rain chances. We'll look at that here in just a bit.
Chilly. Doug Hedia, thank you. Well, the weather has cleared up after yesterday's storms, but some car owners still left feeling the effects. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky spoke with workers at a Joplin auto shop.
Cars breathe air, they don't breathe water, and just like we don't breathe water. So once the water gets up inside the engine, it'll cause them to stall and it can cause severe damage.
Rick Nixon, owner of Nixon's Garage in Joplin, owns one of many area auto shops getting busy because of recent storms. Their phone lines have been more active than usual, getting calls about cars sliding off the road or being damaged by floods.
Well, it was really busy. Started off about 10:30, right before the rain, and with a tow, and then once the rain began, it was one tow after another, bringing in cars that were slid off the road or damaged due to the rain.
One major issue they've been seeing is water creeping into the engine.
Several of the cars that we towed yesterday or that we brought into the shop went through the water. The water is ingested through the air filter and up into the engine. It can fill up the cylinders and cause the engine to hydrolock, which can do severe internal engine damage.
Holly White, a Joplin resident, is one of many who came to Nixon's Garage after experiencing this kind of engine damage.
It wouldn't start at all. It was just, you'd think it was just stalled in the water.
White hadn't even driven yet. Before she could even try, water had already run through her vehicle.
It was parked on the driveway at just enough of an angle, I think, with the storms we had, made it to where a fair amount of that water, got caught up into the motor and in the front end.
She says after calling multiple auto shops, she's grateful to have found one with availability after Thursday's weather. In Joplin, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
Joplin Little League is going to have to find a new spot to play ball, at least for a couple of weeks in a way. Last night's flooding damaged the ball fields at Landreth Park, as we're seeing right there. 2 of the fields could be cleaned up and reopened in just 2 weeks. One of the fields, however, might never reopen. Joplin Little League is going to have to replace much of the field's dirt, and they could use some help on Saturday.
Well, they'll be postponed and be played somewhere, whether it's on one of our other fields. We have a senior league field that's too big for regular Little League, but we can move the bases and things like that, but it really will stretch the season.
Little League officials are not sure how much the repairs are going to cost, but they say it's going to be at least $1,800. Campgrounds and campers are getting ready for what could be a great weekend to get outdoors, but yesterday's heavy rains could throw a wrench in some of the plans. KOM's Zach Dodge has this story.
Spending time in the sun with family and good friends. For Mary Barrett and her crew, rain wasn't going to keep them from it.
It's going to be great. It's going to be a great next 3 days.
They plan to play ball, spend time around the campfire, and hit the water, if the water cooperates.
And we're ready for it to go down so we can go kayaking, and we're going to wait until Sunday.
Heavy rains on Thursday caused rivers and creeks to rise several feet, spilling in the campgrounds like Big Elk floats and camping.
Most of our B section is still underwater, and so they're not available right now, and it's a kind of a disappointment.
Memorial Day weekend is not only their opening weekend, but their busiest weekend, with all of their spots being reserved a month out.
With the sun coming out today and it's drying things up, all of our RV sites are still available, and most of them are still coming in.
Beverly Snyder at Indian Summer Campground in Anderson was in the same boat just this morning.
The majority of the campground was underwater, and like with a current running through it, kind of a river running through it.
But it has dried up and campers are coming in.
It goes down about as quickly as it comes up.
So now a lot of what happens this weekend will depend entirely on what the water wants to do.
We had a dozen kayaks booked, and I even if they want to, I don't think I would want anybody to, because I don't think it'll be safe.
Hoping to be able to float tomorrow, but only anybody knows.
While it would be disappointing if they can't hit the water, Barrett's still going to have a good time and go with the flow.
That's the main thing, enjoying time with our family.
In McDonald County, Zach Dodge, KOAM News.
If you do plan to visit local rivers or streams this weekend, we have a way for you to check the water levels on our website. That's KOAMNewsNow.com. Leading into Memorial Day weekend, a number of volunteers from Easter Seals, Midwest, and Avalon Hospice joined veterans to place flags on the graves of other veterans at the Mount Hope Cemetery in Webb City. More than 1,500 flags were placed in the cemetery. Some of the oldest veteran graves date back to World War I.
You know, our veterans sacrificed so much over the years to give us the freedoms we have. It's something we have to do. It's something we do because we want to, but it's something that needs to be done, and people need to recognize our veterans more each year for the things that they do.
On Memorial Day, 3 veterans' cremains will be interned at Mount Hope at 10 a.m. The remains of another veteran have been returned here to the U.S. Remains turned over to the U.S. by North Korea have been identified as those of Private First Class Bill Hobbs from South Coffeyville, Oklahoma. Hobbs was 20 when he was reported missing in action on November 30th, 1950, after his unit was attacked near a river in North Korea. His remains are going to be returned for burial, scheduled for June 26th in Coffeyville, Kansas. Nearly 80 years after his death at Pearl Harbor, the remains of Navy veteran and Fort Scott, Kansas native William Barnett are home. In January, the Defense POW MIA accounting agency announced that Barnett's remains had been identified finally. This week, as we're seeing right there, Barnett's remains were brought home to Fort Scott, and today he was buried at the Fort Scott National Cemetery.
I don't think any of us that served would want to do the other way. We serve for a grateful nation. And you know, sometimes you wake up, I'll ask you, have you ever awakened in the morning and thought, you know, I could have been born somewhere else? But we're in America. That's what it's about.
And we thank you, veterans. Barnett was 21 years old when he was killed in the attack on Pearl Harbor. KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time now to honor one of our Force Day heroes. Frank Parker served in the U.S. Army from 1941 to 48, spending time in Europe. He won several awards. We are proud to thank Private First Class Frank Parker. He's tonight's Force State hero. Doug is next with a complete look at the forecast, and later, Frontenac baseball aiming to bring home a state championship in Manhattan. We have highlights, post-game reaction as well in sports.
Well, it turned out to be a pretty good Friday for us today. Kind of chilly temperatures, highs only into the mid 60s. during the afternoon, but we're dry after all the rain that we saw, especially yesterday. Joplin south. For the month, over 7 inches. For the year, over 21. We're above average by 3.5 inches, and we got most of that during the daytime hours yesterday. Started out with clouds, sunshine during the afternoon. Pretty good evening. Nice shot of the sun setting. Great time-lapse Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Of course, Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri, but great shot there. Look at our temps. Kind of chilly. 61 in Chanute. 60 in Welch, 59 Miami, 56 in Neosho, 55 in Lamar. Of course, it's Memorial Weekend. Most people get outside, do outdoor activities, or hit the lakes or the creek or the river, but it's kind of chilly to do that. We are going to warm up a bit over the next couple days, but still very cool for this time of the year. North winds 5 to 10 continuing to kick in for us tonight. We look okay right now, currently outside sitting at 57, northerly winds 5 to 10, humidity is at 74%. Looking across the region, not too much going on, just a few clouds kind of in and out across the region, but that is just about it. Most of the Central Plains look pretty good, pretty much clear skies. Any rain that we had yesterday is gone across the eastern seaboard, and then somewhat the beginnings of our next wave kind of building out toward the west, and this will start to affect us by late Sunday, then heading into next week. Until then, we look okay. Chilly tonight, mid-40s, which is super cold for almost June. Mid-40s, partly sunny skies tomorrow. Pretty good day. I think about 2 or 3 degrees warmer than what we saw today, but very similar to today. Colder start though, 45, 64 by noon. High temp is 68. North winds at about 5 to 10. Tomorrow night, fine, but also chilly again. We dip back into the upper 40s. 4 overnight lows, and then as we go into Sunday, we'll start to get some clouds in here during the afternoon. We may even get a few showers in here late in the day. I think most of the day is going to be dry, but we will start to get some showers in here with our next system. So let's start Sunday, 5 p.m. Some showers, maybe even some thunderstorms as we head into Monday, and then this weak wave just kind of sits on us Monday, Tuesday, into Wednesday, giving us several rounds of showers and thunderstorms. I don't think it's going to be super heavy like what we did see yesterday, but the rain is going to be there. All right, chilly weekend, thunderstorms Sunday through Wednesday. Severe threats very low, so that's the good news, just kind of good old showers and thunderstorms. Of course, you can get the long-range forecast month-long blog, KOAMnewsnow.com. 68 tomorrow, 72 Sunday, Memorial Day, 70. Let's go 71 on Tuesday, and then finally the 80s return, but not until late next week.
You know, this has been a weird year.
It's been yeah, it has been. We had all the snow back in February.
Yeah. That
extremely
late
cold.
That late frost, that late freeze.
Yeah, and then May's just been weird.
Yeah, but the upside is no tornadoes, or hardly any, right?
Yeah, so that's good.
Yeah, it is. All right, Doug, we'll see you a little bit. Thank you, as always. Stir-crazy travelers plan to hit the roads and skies this holiday weekend by the millions, making the most of Memorial Day as America bounces back after the pandemic. The downside, though, traffic jams and short tempers are back, too. Fox News correspondent Caroline Shively reports from Reagan National Airport.
Hello, travel. We've missed you. Well, maybe not the long lines or the traffic jams or the unruly air passengers, but Americans sure have missed going places over the last 15 months or so and are making up for lost time.
We're going to Cancun. It's our first international trip since COVID started, so we're very excited.
AAA estimates more than 37 million people will travel at least 50 miles from home over Memorial Day weekend, a 60% increase from last year when only 23 million did, the lowest level since the association started keeping records in 2000. You can see the difference at Reagan National Airport outside D.C. Here's the terminal last May, and here's what it looks like now. The roads are busy too. Nearly 12 million more people could travel by car this weekend, up 52% from 2020.
There's a lot more people, there's more cars. It just seems like almost back to normal.
Delta Airlines announced that bookings for domestic travel this summer are back up to pre-pandemic levels. The Transportation Security Administration plans to hire another 1,000 officers by July 4th to handle all the extra flyers on Delta and other airlines. No matter how or where you're traveling this weekend, the federal government has this reminder.
If you are vaccinated, you are protected, and you can enjoy your Memorial Day. If you are not vaccinated, our guidance has not changed for you.
Memorial Day weekend is usually a good indicator of how busy the summer travel season will be. If that holds this year, it is going to be one busy season. At Reagan National Airport, I'm Caroline Shively, Fox News.
Coming up, a roadblock for Democrats trying to set up a 9/11 style commission to look into that January 6th attack on the Capitol.
Get your brick.
Senate Republicans today stopping an effort to form a bipartisan commission to investigate the January 6th attack on the Capitol. 6 Republicans joined Democrats in voting for the commission, but the measure still fell short of the 60 votes it needed to overcome the Republican filibuster. Fox News congressional correspondent Chad Pergram has more now from Capitol Hill.
Senate Republicans using the filibuster Friday to kill off a bipartisan investigation into the January 6th attack on the Capitol. 6 Republicans broke with their conference, joining Democrats to support a panel to dig deep into the January 6th riot. That's when supporters of former President Trump broke through security and stormed the Capitol as lawmakers tried to certify the 2020 election results. Democratic leaders say Republicans are scared of the former president.
But out of fear or fealty to Donald Trump, the Republican minority just prevented the American people from getting the full truth about January 6th.
But most Republicans claim the bipartisan commission wouldn't be fair to their party. Republican Texas Senator Ted Cruz saying in a statement there are, quote, multiple investigations underway, and that a January 6th commission would be, quote, politically motivated. Republicans filibustered, even starting debate on the bipartisan commission legislation. Senate procedure requires 60 votes to hurdle a filibuster, compared to a simple majority to pass bills. Some Democrats say the future of democracy hinges on the filibuster, but Republicans and moderate Democrats aren't ready to see it go.
I'm not ready to destroy our government, no. I think the basic will come together. You have to have faith. There's 10 good people.
The FBI continues arresting suspects connected to the January attack. Other investigations highlight security failures at the Capitol that day. On Capitol Hill, Chad Pergram, Fox News.
Just ahead, the jury in the case of a murdered University of Iowa student reaches a verdict.
The best. Jasper County.
An undocumented immigrant and farm worker has been found guilty of abducting and murdering a University of Iowa student back in 2018. Fox News correspondent Matt Finn has more now from Davenport, Iowa.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Christian Bahina Rivera, guilty of the crime of murder in the first degree.
Farm worker and undocumented Mexican immigrant Christian Bahina Rivera has been found guilty of first-degree murder after he abducted 20-year-old college student Molly Tibbetts in July of 2018 and stabbed her to death. The trial coming almost 3 years after Rivera admitted to police that he followed Tibbetts while she was out for an evening run, thought she was hot, got angry at her, and, quote, blacked out. He said when he woke up, he realized she was bleeding in his trunk and then dumped her body in a cornfield. Rivera then led police to that field where investigators found Tibbetts' body.
You stabbed Molly Tibbetts. Isn't that right?
No.
No.
During the trial earlier in the week, Rivera took the stand in his own defense, sharing a very different story, testifying under oath that while he did hide Tibbetts' body, 2 masked men killed her and put the body in his trunk, and then threatened his daughter by name and told him to stay quiet.
Anytime you have a client who gives a statement like he did, and the fact that there was DNA evidence in the trunk, and the fact that he led them to the body, I mean, it makes it extraordinarily difficult, absolutely.
We feel great. I mean, this was the verdict that we wanted. It was the verdict that the evidence demanded, and great for all parties that justice was served.
A first-degree murder conviction carries a sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole. In Davenport, Iowa, Matt Finn, Fox News.
Pretty awesome find for archaeologists in China, uncovering artifacts including a gold mask. More on this when we come back. Archaeologists have discovered more than 1,000 pieces of relics, including a 3,000-year-old gold mask at 6 newly unearthed sacrificial pits in China. Whoa, the mask still has the outline of its ears and mouth intact. Some of the other relics unearthed include sacred trees, gold artifacts, and a copper mask, several of those masks, and a nearly 20-centimeter thick layer of ash. Now, the site was accidentally discovered, in case you were wondering, in the 1920s by a farmer when he was digging a ditch. I love that story, because in this area, of course, in fields, people are still finding Civil War artifacts, oftentimes by accident too. It's really cool. All right, 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming your way. Kansas Attorney General has a warning for dealers of stolen catalytic converters as thefts rise.
President Biden's budget proposal is released just as Memorial Day weekend begins. I'm Madeline Rivera in Washington with why Republicans think the price tag is concerning coming up.
Nestled between
Woodson County Sheriff in Kansas is sounding the alarm about an increase in catalytic converter thefts in Yates Center and around the county. KON's Mike Mahoney spoke to the sheriff to learn his thoughts on why this is all happening and what residents can do to protect their vehicles.
Woodson County Sheriff Jeff McCullough says his team has investigated at least 5 catalytic converter thefts since the start of the new year, and he has a theory as to why it's happening in Woodson County, Kansas.
The bottom line, I believe, is drug related. It goes all back to drugs. We have a meth problem in Woodson County.
A catalytic converter is a device that reduces toxic gases and other pollutants from a car's exhaust. They're frequently stolen because they contain precious metals which can fetch quick cash on the black market. In Kansas, State Attorney General Derek Schmidt released a formal legal opinion stating that catalytic converters are covered under the Scrap Metal Theft Reduction Act, which means scrap metal dealers need to report the purchase of catalytic converters to the KBI's database. Sheriff McCullough thinks that's a step in the right direction.
We are going to be monitoring those scrap yards and make sure that they are monitoring and reporting like they're supposed to be reporting. If they're not, we'll be notifying the Attorney General's office and they'll be investigated also.
When it comes to preventing catalytic converter thefts, the sheriff says to keep your car in a locked garage if possible and consider some high-tech help.
I would suggest folks get a camera. They're not that expensive. They're relatively inexpensive. It's pretty good insurance. If you can catch them on camera, wow, that's great for us.
In Yates Center, Kansas, Mike Mahoney, KOAM News.
The Woodson County Sheriff says they're still looking into whether the catalytic converter thefts are being committed by one person or multiple people. If you have any tips, you're being asked to call the Woodson County Sheriff's Office. Spring Carnival is back at Joplin's North Park Mall. Oh, what an awesome day too, right? The event features all the classic carnival attractions, rides, games, and food. Yeah. While you do have to pay for the rides and games, admission is free though.
We love Joplin, especially being out here at the mall. It's a great location for families and people to catch their attention, so then they come over and maybe stay for 10 minutes, maybe stay for a couple hours, but it's a win-win for us and them.
Carnival is going to be in town until next Sunday, June 6th. Going from that to this next story. Snakes. Snakes are making their presence felt across here in the 4 states, so we asked the experts at the Shoal Creek Center for some tips on how to stay safe. Officials say whenever you are in a wooded area, you should always use caution around bushes, shrubs, and tall grass. But they say not every snake is dangerous, so it's important to be knowledgeable. Thank goodness you got that off the television. President Biden has released a $6 trillion budget proposal saying the investments are necessary in order for the country to rebuild. But critics say the cost is too high, especially as the president looks to drum up support for an infrastructure bill. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera is in D.C., where several lawmakers are voicing concerns over the amount of new spending.
As Americans throughout the country hit the road for Memorial Day weekend, the topic of infrastructure is taking center stage on Capitol Hill. Senate Republicans have a $928 billion counteroffer, more than $700 billion less than the president's revised plan. They say his spending proposals are reckless, particularly as concerns of inflation loom.
We cannot continue down this path.
Those concerns rising on Friday when the president released a $6 trillion budget proposal. It takes into account his infrastructure and $1.8 trillion American Families Plan and also lays out $1.5 trillion for military and domestic programs.
So I anticipate we are going to be hard at work over the next couple of days through the weekend and next week. Next week will be a hard at work week here, even as the as members of Congress go home to their districts.
The plan, to be financed by tax hikes on corporations and wealthy Americans, is expected to run a deficit of $1.8 trillion in 2022. Many Republicans say that kind of spending will cause the economy to overheat.
Gas is up over $1, lumber's up, bread is up, chicken's up. It's already happening.
The Biden administration says they are monitoring the situation and expects inflation spikes will be short term.
The budget certainly does project that there's going to be some short-term inflation, although we do expect it to settle back down to about 2% at an annual rate.
A Fox News poll shows about 47% of voters think the Biden administration is proposing to spend too much. 33% think it's just right, and 17% think it's not enough. In Washington, Mallory Rivera, Fox News.
All right, a bit later, going to see how many items on this weekend's barbecue list are going to cost more this year. Well, at least we got a chance to dry out a bit for us today after all the heavy amounts of rain that we saw yesterday across the region. A lot of areas, especially along and south of I-44, picked up anywhere from 3 to 8 inches of rain. Officially at the airport, we got about 3, but for the month, we're at 7. For the year, over 21. Average is 18. So we're above average for this time of the year by about 3.5 inches. But it looks pretty good. Great time lapse. This is Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, of course, Indigo, just outside of Seneca, Missouri. We had a lot of clouds to start the day. And then we broke out partly sunny skies, a nice shot of the sun setting as we worked into the evening hours. Of course, our daylight hours, it's still light at 9 o'clock. We're getting close to the longest day of the year here in about 3 weeks or so. 57 Neodesha, 55 in Miami, 57 in Pittsburgh. It's chilly. Anderson 57, Cassville sitting at 55 degrees. We have these northerly winds kicking in at about 5 to 10, maybe 15 miles per hour at times. But in general, it's going to be fine tonight. It's just going to kind of be chilly. We have pretty much clear skies currently outside at the airport in Joplin, 57. Northerly winds 5 to 10, humidity is at 74%. Have a few clouds out there, but in general, pretty much clear skies. Not too much going on here across the Central Plains. Behind this storm system that gave us all the rain yesterday and severe weather, storms all the way down through Texas and then kind of firing back up out through New Mexico and parts of Colorado. But our next little wave is this little ripple out across the eastern parts of Nevada. This will start to affect us late Sunday into Monday. Until then, we look okay. Just kind of chilly. Temperatures tonight, mid-40s for overnight lows, so that's pretty cold for this time of the year. Partly cloudy skies tomorrow. Looks pretty good, maybe a notch or two warmer than what we did see today. We'll start out chilly, 45 in the morning, 64 by noon, high temp is 68, north winds at about 5 to 10. Still tomorrow night, kind of chilly. We drop back upper 40s for overnight lows. By Sunday, a little bit warmer. I think we'll pop into lower 70s. We are going to get some clouds, especially by the afternoon. So we're looking at 5 p.m. and by evening, we may get a few little showers that try to sneak in, but in general, most of the weekend looks pretty good. But it's that next little wave. So let's start from Sunday. Showers, thunderstorms scattered into Monday. One wave passes by, second one drops in. So here's Tuesday into Wednesday, still some showers and thunderstorms. Good news here is it doesn't look like any of these are going to be strong or severe, at least right now. Something we always want to watch, but it doesn't look like it's going to be a huge deal. All right, 46 tonight, 45 tonight, 68 tomorrow, 72 on Sunday, 70 on Memorial Day. Again, most of the weekend looks dry. Monday, we're going to get some scattered showers, but it's a good weekend to get outside. Barbecue, whatever you want to do for the holiday weekend. I got to quickly explain myself because we were talking during the commercial break after that snake story. I know there are good snakes.
There are.
There are good snakes.
I mean, I'm not a fan of snakes.
Yeah, same here, man.
But there's some snakes I'll allow to stay in my yard.
It's like an indirect love type of a thing. Yeah. All right. Just had to say that. Thanks, Doug. Coming up in sports, Colgan softball team capturing back-to-back state championships, plus Frontenac baseball picking up a third-place finish in Manhattan. Jacob Leonard has that and more next.
At Johnson Fox. The Frontenac Raiders have made it to the final day of the 3A state baseball tournament. Earlier this afternoon, the Raiders dropped their semifinal game to Anderson County 5-4 in extra innings. So this evening, Frontenac right back on the field looking to take third against Minneapolis. At bottom of the first inning, Caston Fields with the bunt. He will be safe at first. Other side of the diamond, ball gets away. Logan Myers comes home. Game is tied at 1. Minneapolis here in the fourth. Trenton Meckel sends it out to right. Good attempt here on the diving grab, but it gets down. Lions score to take the lead. Late in the game here, Brett Cleland with the pop to right. He doesn't like it, but the ball does get down. 2-run score on the drop. And that's it. Raiders win this one 7-5. Our own Danny Terza was there and has more on Frontenac's finish at state.
It was a tough start to the day for Frontenac, falling in walk-off fashion in the state semifinals, but the Raiders bounced back to take third place in the 3A state tournament here in Manhattan on Friday night.
I told him, I said, look at your jersey, it says Frontenac. I said, we fight for everything and we don't quit till it's over, and we've got to somehow pick ourselves up and go back out and compete hard, because you want to bring home something when you come, and that was our goal, and they found a way to come back and do that.
While it wasn't the result they wanted Friday in Manhattan, the Raiders send their 5 seniors off with a win and a 19-6 overall record.
They're a tremendous group of guys. I can't say enough about them. I mean, we had great senior leadership, and they kind of set the tone for it. And we found a way just to come together as a team with a lot of different, younger guys, everybody mixed in, and was really happy with the way they did things.
It's been a whole lot since I didn't get my last season. But I've been working hard, trying to get some hardware to bring home, and I did just that.
In Manhattan, Kansas, Danny Terzer, KOAM Sports.
The Colgan softball team on the field today aiming for back-to-back state championships. And the Panthers are able to get it done. They beat Burlingame 6-0 to claim the 2A title. Caitlin Crossland throws a complete game shutout with 10 strikeouts. She also had a 2-run homer in the championship game. This one is the third state championship in Colgan softball program history. Today is the opening day of the NCBA World Series in Pittsburgh. It's an 8-team field featuring the best collegiate club baseball teams in the country. Now, the tournament starts today with 4 games at Pitt State's Al Ortolani Field. The championship game will be Wednesday at 7 p.m. Now, the NCBA kind of likes Pittsburgh. It's the 7th consecutive year the organization has had a World Series in town.
We absolutely love it. I mean, the field, the facilities, we use JC Ballpark for several years, but we've come to Pittsburgh State a few times because of weather issues, and we're treated like royalty out here. I mean, the community's great. They really rally around this event, and we've been here since, like you said, 2015. We plan on, continuing our relationship into the future.
The Webb City boys are track and field state champs. The Cardinals finished 7 points clear of Kearney for first place at the Missouri Class 4 state meet today. Webb City had 6 individuals and 2 relay teams earn top 5 finishes today. You can check out all of them in this story on the sports page at KOAMNewsNow.com. And that's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
Rush to Rober Honda and get paid.
Memorial Day weekend barbecues are just around the corner. Fox Business Network's Edward Lawrence is in Maryland with how much many of us are going to be spending on treats for the grill.
Hey, get ready to pay more when you're grilling this holiday weekend. I went to the grocery store and look, I bought this. I bought 2 steaks, ground beef, and some slices. That cost me $70, partly because the packaging, the supply shortage, the packages are in short supply, and the gas to get it to market also increased the cost. We're talking about 4.2% year-over-year inflation on basically everything. But when you look at some grilling items, like bread, for instance, this price is up 7.1%. Look at some of these other things. If you're buying steak, USDA choice steak, it's up 8.6%. Hot dogs up 8.2%. American processed cheese up 3%. Some of the most important for some people, but not on the list there, wine is up 10.9%. So I went to the expert, Stan Hayes, a barbecue grand champion and co-founder of Operation Barbecue, which helps provide meals after natural disasters. He told me the best way to grill on a budget. Listen.
Check the meat counter. Check what's on sale,
it's going to be different, and it's going to make people think differently about how they're going to have to be, a little bit more conscious and think ahead as well. You're not going to just run down to the store and always be able to find it.
You may have to find some alternatives to keep that cost down. And once you survive the sticker shock, I did ask Hayes about some tips for grillers.
You overcook things generally because the fire's too, not hot enough, and you leave it on there too long. So your burger gets overdone because it's not getting done fast enough.
And for me, the biggest tip is little mesquite chips in the charcoal. Charcoal, by the way, will cost you more. Propane is up 17.2% year over year. In Kensington, Maryland, Edward Lawrence, Fox Business.
But the food is still going to be good, okay? Preview of this year's MasterChef when we come back. The summer series keep kicking off on Fox TV, including the return of MasterChef with some famous friends joining Chef Ramsay and the judges in the kitchen. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
MasterChef cooks up something new season 11, welcoming culinary legends to the competition. How do you see having the legends with you adds to the challenge for the home cooks and also the scope of what they can learn?
Yeah, good question. This is an amateur competition. So when amateurs are excited about food and they want to get inspired and they get a chance to go to Roy Choi's food truck or restaurant, when you get to cook for them in front of them and you get to see these incredible legends, Curtis Stone, Nancy Silverton, Emeril Lagasse, it ups the ante.
You're the best baker in the world.
It went down incredibly well. They lifted their game and we saw food this year like we've never seen before.
At this stage in the game, expectations are high for the home cooks.
There's no excuses kind of thing. For me personally, you understand the format. You know, inevitably you have to come in there with some pastry knowledge, for instance, would be one thing. You have to come in there with your own culinary voice. Try to separate yourself from the pack.
And contestants will start with a signature dish audition. For many, food means family, means home. So can you tell when someone has really put their heart into a dish, and how much of a difference does that make?
Oh, it's huge. It's a game changer. When you cook from a place of love, it's evident. And then you can also see how comfortable they are in the kitchen because they're like, I know this dish. I know this frontwards and backwards. And then when that happens, we're capturing magic and lightning in a bottle.
MasterChef Legends premieres Wednesday, June 2nd on Fox. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
That's our time for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Going to leave you with lemurs arriving at a UK zoo. Have a great, safe weekend. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.